Hello and welcome to this short video about Your Life Beyond Care. I'm Ian Stuart Watson and I'm part of the team at Coram Voice. Coram Voice have developed this survey, Your Life Beyond Care, and a partner survey, Your Life, Your Care, for children who are in care, in conjunction with Oxford University with support from the Hadley Trust. Over the two surveys, we've gathered the voices and views of over 13,500 young people from over 50 different local authorities. In this short video, what we'll look at is what makes the Your Life Beyond Care survey unique. We'll actually have a look at the survey itself and how it gathers the information, and we'll think then about how a local authority can best implement and run the survey. What makes the Your Life Beyond Care survey unique is that we view that care leavers are the experts on their lives. They know what it feels like to be a care leaver. Yet interestingly, as corporate parents, we gather the statistics about very objective and measurable outcomes. Have they been seen within timescales? Do they have a pathway plan? Are they in education, employment, training, etc.? None of that really tells you whether they're happy, whether they're leading fulfilled lives, whether they are optimistic about their future. So in the Bright Spot surveys, the Your Life, Your Care and the Your Life Beyond Care surveys, we look to gather that information in a systematic way and present it to the local authority. We look at young people's subjective well-being, how they feel about themselves. And through the surveys, we can then take information from your young people and from their views and compare it with the national findings that we have and also the findings for the non-care population, and make comparisons between how your young people are feeling and reporting their well-being against those other data sets. And where we find young people are doing better in a local authority, we are able to award bright spots. I would just say that the Your Life, Your Care survey does cover young people who are eligible care leavers, and the relevant and former relevant young people are covered by the Your Life Beyond Care survey. So the central question of the survey is what makes life good? And what I'd ask is that you just reflect for a moment on what makes life good for you, and compare what you thought and your views with what young people told us when we asked them the same question. Because they told us life was good about having someone who listened to you, who encouraged you, about having a pet, about feeling settled and safe where you lived, about feeling happy with the way you looked, about coping financially, and having access to the smartphone or the internet. So what I'll do now is I'll just take us into the survey itself so we can see how we start to gather that information. As I say, the survey is accessed via a hyperlink, which you simply click on, and it takes you through to the survey itself. The survey is anonymous, and we don't gather any information about young people's names, dates of birth, addresses, etc. And all the questions are optional apart from the first one, which is, do you want to complete the survey? So if you click no to that, it just takes you straight out of it. By clicking on, it then asks a series of questions. How long have you been in care? Has someone explained to you why you were in care? Do you feel involved in pathway planning? How many leaving care workers have you had? And do you trust your leaving care worker? And after each section, there's then space for young people to be able to free text their views. Overall, there are 41 questions in 9 different areas, covering a range of things about having fun, about their feelings, about feeling positive, about money, and being in education, employment and training. So what I'd like to do now is just to move on to think about how you as a local authority can best implement and run the survey. Clearly, Coram will be supporting you in running the survey. We will be involved in the planning stages and helping you think about how to get the best returns from the survey. Once the survey is opened, we will be sending you twice weekly updates on completion rates, a midpoint in-touch meeting just to check how things are going. And when the survey has closed, and usually we reckon it should be open for about 4 to 5 weeks, any longer you're getting into fatigue, we will then analyse the data and produce a full report of all the findings. It's about 90 slides long. We use it in PowerPoint, so it's more accessible and usable. We do produce a summary report, and we will run a facilitation and dissemination meeting. What we found in authorities where they've had really positive responses to the survey, there's been very clear involvement of corporate parents, elected members, the corporate parenting board, because if you're asking these questions, you need to think about where that information is going, and it might be helpful for you to look at an anonymized version of the report, start to think about, if we're going to get this information, what are we going to do with it really? It's about preparing partners for change. If you're going to listen to the views of young people, you need to be able to respond to that. And it may be you're going to ask your colleagues in housing and health and the wider community BT about dealing differently and responding differently to care leavers. And the bulk of the work in supporting care leavers to complete the survey will be done by your leaving care workers. So how are they going to be supported by the participation team, the principal social worker, business support, to ensure they've got the good level of materials to be sending out to young people? And the leaving care worker themselves can help young people complete the survey because it's a hyperlink. It's very easy to send out via social media, text or email. We found the best results are when it comes in a personal email or message from their leaving care worker. It's about the personal advisor identifying how each young person will be supported to complete the survey, a plan for each individual young person. Most young people will be able to complete the survey on their own. You've seen it's a fairly simple survey. But if they need support, then you need to identify who that trusted adult is going to be. It can't be the PA or the carer, because as you've seen, there are questions about the PA and the similar questions about where they're living. And I think it's important that you have all your data, your information correct about email addresses and contact details, and that you keep a check on who has completed the survey, so you can go back and focus your efforts over the 4 or 5 weeks. And I think ways of messaging this, about this piece of work, is not that it's just another survey that we've got to do, but actually, it's a chance for care leavers to say how they feel. The local authority commissioned Coram to deliver this programme because they're interested to know and to make changes based on young people's views and voices. It's also an opportunity for care leavers to know how get to know their young person better, to check in with them after they've completed the survey, to know what tricky questions that young person, or what questions that young person may find difficult, and pick that up with them afterwards. We know that certain groups of young people are going to be more difficult to contact and work with. And here are some of the ideas that some local authorities have used about young people in custody, about unaccompanied asylum seekers, and those who are out of area. So finally, each local authority will have a link person who has the contacts with Coram Voice. So if you've got any questions, do ask them, and they can either answer them or bring them back to us at Coram Voice. And finally, if you want to know more about the work of the Bright Spot survey and the findings from Your Life Beyond Care, then please click on the links below. I hope that's been helpful. I hope you have a good survey, and thank you very much for watching this video. Goodbye.